Trifecta by Dean Pearl. Chapter 13. Come on in. Glad you could make it. Ben welcomed his guests into his home as he guided them to his playroom, as he called it, with a pool table and a bar with big screen TVs all around the room and a couple of pinball machines, a large brick fireplace on one wall facing the bar, and a wall of mirrors behind the bar. Definitely a man cave, Wesley mused. Yeah, I guess it is, Ben laughed in agreement. So I take it there's no Mrs. Ben? Wesley asked coyly. There used to be, Ben lamented, but she passed away from cancer 2 years ago. Oh, I'm so sorry, Wesley offered condolences. It left me pretty devastated for a while, but life has to go on. We can't live in our past, right? Ben sought confirmation. Definitely a healthy way to look at it, Wesley confirmed. So are you seeing anybody regular now? Wesley hoped she wasn't being too obvious, but she wanted to know as much about Ben as she could. She found him to be quite interesting, funny and intelligent. 3 things in a man she found very attractive. She was definitely attracted to Ben with his rugged good looks but kind, gentle face. Lately I find that I'm just too busy to meet anyone of substance that I have a chance to get to know, Ben explained his situation. As they continued to chat, they slowly wandered over toward the bar. Leslie and Max were up the bar, ogling all the knickknacks and bric-a-brac that Ben had all around his playroom. Typical guy stuff, Leslie thought, as Max was in awe of all the cool memorabilia Ben had accumulated. Ben went behind the bar to play bartender. So what can I get everybody? Ben asked lightheartedly. Max spoke up first. I'll have a Bud Light and a shot of Jose Cuervo if you've got it. Coming right up, Ben said as he poured a Bud Light from one of the 4 tap beers he kept stocked. Then grabbed a bottle of Jose and asked Max, how do you want that, cold and dressed or warm and naked? Max laughed. Warm and naked, please. I'm a professional. What does that mean, dressed and warm or naked? Leslie inquired to Max. Cold and dressed is how beginners drink tequila, Max explained. It's chilled over ice, then poured into a shot glass with salt on the rim and a slice of lime. Those are also referred to as training wheels. So warm and naked just means a plain old shot, which can also be referred to as neat. Ben then again turned to the girls to see what he could get for them. I'd just like a glass of white wine, Leslie asked, as her sister agreed that she'd like one of the same. As Ben poured the wine, he wanted to find out more about them so he could advise them the best he could in how to approach their lottery win. He knew too many people just didn't understand the ramifications of coming into a lot of money suddenly, and he wanted to be sure they had their heads on right when it came to finances, as he really knew almost nothing about them, but wanted to see them succeed. And besides, he was getting a definite vibe from Wesley that she was interested in him, and he loved the idea as he found her quite beautiful. So tell me a little bit about how you all grew up and what your life has been like up to this point, Ben inquired. All 3 of them looked at each other as if to say who should go first. Max took the lead. You may find this weird, I know we did, but the twins and I didn't even know each other until almost a year ago, Max informed him. I don't understand, Ben implored. Well, actually only half-brothers and sisters. The girls, being fraternal twins, have been together all their lives. But we just discovered shortly after meeting each other that we were indeed related by blood because it turned out we have the same father, but 2 different mothers, Max confessed. Wow, Ben exclaimed, that's unusual. Max went on to detail their whole background, how they met, how the girls owned a dojo and taught Max how to fight, and how he taught them to be in a band. So you 3 actually play in a band as well? Ben asked, surprised. Yeah, we're pretty damn good too, Leslie bragged. Do you have a band name? Asked Ben. Trifecta, Wesley responded quickly as Ben nodded impressed. They continued their conversation about their personal histories as Ben's cook came into the playroom to inform them that dinner was ready when they were. They casually followed Ben to the dining area off the kitchen to an elaborately set-up table covered with food. Ben had covered all the bases by having his cook prepare ribeye steaks, some lobsters and crab legs, and an assortment of salads and veggies. Holy crap, Wesley's eyes lit up. That's a lot of food. Excellent was all Max had to say, and Leslie's eyes just lit up in amazement. This guy was going all out for us, Wesley thought as she took her place at the table while the cook made them a fresh set of drinks. She wondered if he was just trying to impress us so that we would hire him to be our lawyer, or if he was just trying to impress somebody, like Wesley, who he seemed to be taking a natural, mutual attraction to. Either way was fine with her, she thought, as she prepared to pig out on surf and turf. As they ate, they continued discussing their individual pasts, including them learning about Ben's interesting journey to where he is today. Of course, Ben's story was nothing like their own. By his own admission, he was born with a silver spoon, and he has never wanted for anything. His parents were also passed away, except that his parents left him $50 million when they died. Not that Ben even needed it by then. He was already a multimillionaire in his own right as an attorney and assistant DA. The opulence of his home was the dead giveaway, combined with the servants that were hired to take care of him, including a personal chef, a full-time landscaper for 3-acre property he lived on, and 2 housekeepers, all of whom also lived on the property in a separate 4-bedroom house. His garage alone was bigger than the girls' and Max's houses put together, and when he gave them a tour of the house, he mentioned he had a couple of dozen various cars, from new to classics. Finally, after dinner, they all settled into Ben's library office to discuss whether or not they wanted Ben to represent them as their attorney, and to also assist with any accounting that would surely become a part of their list of needed personnel. He explained that his fee was a straight 1% of after-tax earnings, which seemed like a small amount at first until Max realized that just 1% of $100 million was still $1 million. However, they were convinced of the need for Ben's services, and they all readily agreed to the contractual terms. They all felt like Ben was someone they could trust for some reason. Besides his natural affability, it was obvious from his language and surroundings that he would be a good fit for them, and Max and Leslie could see the googly eyes coming from Wesley every time she looked at him. After they all signed on to the necessary paperwork, they toasted with a glass of Dom Perignon. The 3 of them were getting ready to leave as one of the housekeepers brought them their jackets and purses. As they were about to head out the door and giving Ben hugs and handshakes, Ben made sure to hug Wesley last, and as he did so, he asked her if she would be willing to have dinner with him alone this week. She hesitated only a second before responding, "Yes, I'd love to have dinner with you, but isn't there some kind of rule about lawyers dating their clients or something like that?" "It's not generally advised," Ben told her, smiling, "but there's certainly no law or rule against it, and I think we're mature enough to handle it." "How old are you, anyway?" Leslie asked as her sister threw her a dirty look for asking so bluntly. "I just recently turned 32, so we're about 10 years apart," Ben informed her while smiling at Wesley. "Is that too old?" "No, that sounds just about right," Leslie giggled as Max gently moved her towards the door. "We'll be in the car waiting for you, Wesley," Max said as he again shook Ben's hand and thanked him for his help and support while taking Leslie's arm and walking her out. Ben spent a couple minutes firming up his date with Wesley before asking if he might have a goodnight kiss to seal the deal. Wesley just nodded in the affirmative as Ben slowly drew her to him and kissed her on the lips in a slow, romantic way, causing Wesley's toes to curl up a bit. "Woo!" she exclaimed after the kiss. "That was nice. So I'll see you Wednesday night when I pick you up for dinner, and Thursday when we go back to the Lotto headquarters to cash your ticket, right?" Ben quizzed. "Looking forward to it all. Good night, Ben," Wesley remarked as she headed for the waiting car with her sister and Max.